Hi, it's Naomi from Willow and Fink. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today I thought I would show you how to paint some two-tone shabby flowers. There's something that I learnt from a fellow painter a couple of years ago, and I just thought I would show you today how to do it. I'll show you some examples of what I've got here, so just a moment. Okay, so these are some flowers that I thought I'd teach you how to paint today. There's some shabby flowers with the two-tone paint. And you'll also hopefully be able to see, where is it? Just here is where I was showing you the cracked paint effect last week. So there was just here, and then there's some just here, and there's some just up there. So you've got the yellow, and then the red is shining through from where the paint has been cracked. But this one down here is a really good example of how if you have the paint a little bit thicker and it dries a little bit faster, the paint will crack and show you the colours that are underneath. So that's one that I painted, and I painted this one as well not so very long ago. This one I've got in my hallway. It says bloom where you are planted. I think on the video it's showing it upside down, so sorry, back to front, sorry about that. But these are some of the flowers that I painted as well, sort of with the two-tone, with the shabby effect. Some of those have got the cracked paint in them as well. So we'll get started. Okay, right, okay. So yes, I nearly missed today's live because I've been, if you've joined me before, you'll see that it's a little bit different. I've turned the desk around and I've tidied up, and I'm nowhere near being finished, but I'm getting there. And this just behind me, before I started painting, I used to make assemblage jewellery with the brass filigree. So if you see some of those, like the Downton Abbey, how they had the big necklaces, I used to make those, and the earrings. I haven't made those for a while. I discovered painting, and I just do that now. I do a little bit of jewellery making, but not so much now. So we'll start painting. I'm just going to reuse this board that I have here. So we'll just get our paints ready. I'll just lower this down, so just a moment. Okay, so we'll just, should be able to see. Sorry, I'll just straighten it up a little bit. Okay, so we've got some paints. We may go with the red and the orange again, so I'll just bring them over. What have I got? Must admit, I haven't tried the flowers with this new brand of paint, so today we'll try it together. I always say practice before you do it. Well, as I said, I nearly didn't get to this live in time, so we'll see how we go. I'll just take my glasses off. Okay, so we just need to scoop out some paint. When you're making the shabby flowers, the thicker the paint, the better. It just seems to hold a bit more, and as you are doing it, sort of, you will get that cracked effect, and then the paint won't run as much. So this paint here looks like it'll be okay. So we'll just put a little bit into here. Okay, and we'll put, we'll go yellow, so we'll do the reds and yellows again. Yeah, why not, because there's reds in this board, so we'll try that. So just to show, I've got all different sorts of brands of paint here. I've got, what have I got? 1, 2, 3 different brands of paint, but that's okay. I do find that the thinner paints don't work as well. And one of the main reasons I use Rust-Oleum is mainly because it's just around the corner from me. I don't have to order it. I can just go if I need some and pick it up. There are better brands around, or thicker paints for this, but we'll just use these because that's what I've got. And anyone that paints knows that the paint's not a cheap item, so I just use what I have. Okay, so I've got the paint in the tray just there, and now we need to do some the centers of the flowers. So I'll just when I picked this black, I really liked it because the name of it is Van Helsing, and I've got a bit of a funny sense of humour, so so the main reason I picked this kind of black was because of the colour. Okay, so we'll do the centre of our flowers first. I'll just take this straight out the tin. We might just go sort of, and it doesn't matter how big you do the centre of the flower, because we're going to cover it over anyway as we're doing the leaves. It doesn't have to be, we'll just, I don't know, we'll just do a big flower here. Okay, right. And sets of 3, you might just do another one down here. And this board already has been coated, or sorry, decoupaged with wrapping paper, and on it it's got some roses, some deers and some butterflies. Now I should have, okay, I'm just waiting for that paint to dry, and I didn't bring my hairdryer out, so that's not a very good start, but that's okay. Okay, so we will just, oh, typical. Okay, we'll just have to make do. If the black swirls in with the paint, it swirls in. Real life and all that sort of thing. I forgot to bring the hairdryer out, but that's okay. I'll see if I can sort of blow it a little bit. Let me see if I can spread the paint around. Okay. Okay, so let's try and blow it, because as I said, I didn't bring my hairdryer out, and unfortunately I need it to dry a little bit before I can. Okay, that one looks like it's about to, oh, and the kids have heard me and they've brought out the hairdryer. Thank you very much, Tara. Thank you. Okay, so I've got the PowerPoint just here. See, this is what happens when your family watch. They come and save the day. Okay. So these things happen, so I'll just give it a quick blast. Okay, nice and dry. Okay, so that was nice and quick. Right, okay, so I'll just pop the little light back in that I used to highlight everything. There we go, and I'll turn that, oops, turn it back on. There we go. Okay, so we have our flowers, and I'm just using a flat brush. This is a Renoir number 20 that I've just bought from Bunnings, the local hardware store, and it's got a soft sort of bristle. Okay, and then all we do is we have to load the brush half one color, half the other, so when the paint is like that, it's easy. You can just dip straight into the middle. We can just go like that, and we have our two colors. See, so we just need to get the paint on the brush, so give it a bit of a wiggle. You can see it's there. Maybe put a bit more yellow on. Okay, and then all we do is we just make little or big C's or commas with the paint. So we just keep reloading, and because we're using a thick paint, it will hopefully crack for us as it gets a little bit, as it dries. So you just sort of load up your brush and you just make C shapes, and you can go over and over, just backwards and forwards doing the C shapes. We can do a little bit more red if we want. We can do a little bit more yellow. We can start on a different flower. So here we've got like marbled paint. Okay, we'll start down here. So it's just of doing like little C's or little ticks or little commas, little flicks. However, you can make big ones, small ones, tight ones, however you want to do it. So you see here that the yellow and the red are mixing, and so it's making sort of like there's some pink and there's some orange and there's some stripes. You sort of see in this one here as well, they're sort of all mixing together. The circle, the black circle, doesn't have to be large, it can be small. Flowers in nature, the centers are big and small and all different shapes and sizes. You can make large flowers, small flowers. So it's just really simple. It's just a matter of loading the brush with the colors and then just making little circles or little commas or little ticks. How you do it is entirely up to you. You might want to do big swirls or smaller ones. Okay, so I just do sort of like little flicks. I do like to build the paint up, so as the paint is drying, I'll go over and add some more to it. So I might do some more in the middle, and some more on the outside, and then as you're doing the layers, you're getting some texture and some depth. So instead of just having like a flat flower, you will actually have one that stands out a little bit, so it's a little bit 3D. We can start this one down here. I'll just hold the board up for you. Okay, so maybe this flower we can just do sort of maybe some yellow and just do some yellow ticks. And as you're sort of going around, you are just flicking the brush in that kind of motion, and you are doing it putting a little bit of pressure on, so you are flattening the bristles out a little bit. It does take some practice, and then as you are doing the strokes, if you practice them, you get to see which sort of size petal and shapes, and everyone has their own way of doing it. And I suppose it is a little bit of trial and error. So here we've put a little bit more red on, a bit more yellow, so we've got more of a two-tone paint, and then we'll just sort of like come out a little bit. And it doesn't matter if it's a little bit lopsided or not even, because nature's not even. Flowers don't come out looking perfectly symmetrical, and flowers just don't care. Flowers just bloom. They don't care what the flower next to them looks like. And as you'll see, this one's sort of a bit more yellow, so this one is now starting to dry. So what we'll do with this one, if you see here, it's sort of like a little bit wet still, but the external petals are now dry. So what we can do, we'll just put a bit more on. Oh, something fell over there. Okay, so again, we'll just you'll see here that the paint is now starting to swirl. That's good, because then you get a bit more of a colour play, but we'll just try and do half red, half yellow, just so that I can show you how it looks on the brush. And we will just swirl. So just swirl, and just swirl and flick little C's or little commas, and just sort of go around. That one's more of almost like a V shape, and then you just sort of like build them up. Okay, so these ones are probably a little bit messier flowers than the ones that I showed you, but that's just because I'm doing a bit more of a looser design, and I just wanted to get the really big flowers in. Okay, so you'll see with these ones here are a little bit more tighter, and again, it just depends on the technique that you're using. I can't remember what brand of paint I used with those, but this brand here is only a new brand, so I know I didn't use, these may have been Rust-Oleum, I'm not quite sure, and I'm pretty sure that these ones were from Rust-Oleum. So if you compare sort of these ones here, which are more of a line, so these are more of a straighter line, whereas these ones here are more of a tighter curl and flick. So depending on the brush strokes that you use will depend how your flower turns out. and whether you wanted more of a rose shape or a daisy shape, or just trying to think, like one of those peonies, how they pop open. So there we the two different. Yeah, they look the same. These are a bit more tighter. These are a little bit more looser, a bit more florally. I think these ones are florally. As the paint is drying, we might just enclose the middles a little bit more, so we can do more yellow, we can do more red. Okay, I've really mixed them up now. We can just sort of go in, or we can just do like we've done there, more of the bigger circles like I've done in those. So we just load the brush up, load it up really quite thickly, and then we just squash and flick, or comma, or circle. Now these are quite big, and that's sort of what I'm going for today. And we'll see that we're getting a nice 3D effect just in here. It's getting quite big, and these are now all sorts of colour. The paint is actually starting to blend in. As you see here, it's sort of mixing in the tray, but I think that's pretty much how and what I'm going to show you today, because it's just a repetition of loading the brush, sort of like one colour on one. Hang on, here we go. One colour on one side and one colour on the other, and then just flicking, just drop and flick. You don't always have to reload the brush each time, and then just load and flick. These are quite little pointy little petals that I'm doing today, but you get the idea. So these are nice big loose flowers. I may finish off palette knifing the rest of the border today and show it to you this afternoon. So actually, no, I was just thinking what we might do, might just fill in that center flower a bit more. So we'll put that in there. Might even get a little bit more red and just put the red in. And the red's just, I'm just picking up from the spoon that I used, and we just flick. Oh, the dog's come in. Bear, hello Bear. You want to say hello to everyone? Bear, come here. No, he's walked off. Okay, well that's my dog Bear. Okay, so we'll maybe this one, maybe do a little bit more yellow. So we'll just do a big yellow flick. So these are just, we shall call these native wildflowers. And later on I will perhaps put in some leaves, but that's pretty much how I think we're going to leave it today. I may just fix up that bit just there. You just keep going, you just keep dipping, swirling until you've made the flowers that you like, and you're happy with the design. They don't have to be symmetrical, as I said, because nature's not symmetrical, and when flowers are in the meadows, they just bloom and the wind gets them and everything else. So that is my flowers that we're going to make today. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for joining me today. I'll probably, as I said, I'll probably finish this off after I finish this live. Yeah, I'm really quite happy with that. So I just okay, so I just turn that up. So again, I just wanted to say thank you very much for joining me today, whether you watch me live or you watch me on replay. If you like my videos, please feel free to share them with your friends. I'd love to have you and your friends join me for the next video. Usually I'm here on a Sunday afternoon at 3 o'clock. So please join me, and thank you very much. Thank you. Have a good rest of your Sunday. Bye.